Amidst the earnings season, a lot of earnings that are coming in as well. And now we have Sansera Engineering, which reported its numbers as well. When you look at it in terms of the revenue growth, or 24% growth, margins have remained flattish. But what is the outlook of the company going forward? What should we be expecting from the company going forward? Let's bring on board B R Preetham, Group CEO of Sansera Engineering, joining in with us this afternoon. A very good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining in with us on Markets at Noon on ET Now. And talking about, just in terms of numbers and how they are shaping up, Q1 numbers seems like a good number coming in there. But what is it in terms of your guidance that you want to, you would say for FY24? Do you think your growth could be better than the levels that we've seen in Q1, or is this something you're expecting to continue for the rest of the year as well?
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. We have at the beginning of the year said that this year our growth would come from both international business as well as the domestic business. And we have also are expected to do a reasonably good year for the full year. So we are expected to do better than 20% growth for the year compared to the previous year. So I expect that the coming quarters would also be equally strong. If you had, the last year, the second quarter and the third quarter, our export or the international businesses had suffered. So we have a low base on that. So overall in this year, we expect our exports to grow by 50%. So this would also give a boost to the growth.
Mr. Preetham, will it be, fair to assume that you may do a top line of around 3,000 crore, 2,800 to 3,000 crore? Given the run rate, and closer to 200 crore on the net profit front for the full year ending?
No, we see our base last year was around 2,350 crores. So we are expected to grow by about 20% on the top line, while the export would start continuing better. So our export from international business from 28% would go up to about 32.5%. This would definitely be EBITDA accretive. So we are looking at a very strong year in terms of even margin growth as well.
Right. And specifically, you said exports are going to grow. What about your Europe business also? How do you see that growing in terms of momentum? What is the demand trends that you're picking up from Europe currently?
You mean our Europe subsidiary?
Yes.
No, our Europe subsidiary has, last time also we had indicated there is a shift in customer business distribution between the vendors. So they are de-risking their business. So this took effect on our sales last year. But this year we have said that the business would be back to normal. And this is being demonstrated in the first quarter where they have had a good growth as well as the EBITDA numbers are better. So on a full year basis, we will be back to FY22 levels from our Swedish subsidiary, and also on the EBITDA levels, we should be, over 10% on from there. So there is a significant improvement that is coming compared to the last year.
Mr. Preetham, just to take a macro view, because you do operate in overseas market facing Europe, US as well. I want to understand from you, because you may be interacting with people out there. Last week, the Federal Reserve came out and said that the probability of a major US recession is very low and it may not happen. Today, what happened was that Bank of America, one of the first of the big global banks, have reversed their recession call on US. Why I'm asking you is this: if indeed US doesn't go in a major crash landing or a major deep recession, as now rumblings are getting louder, it will also likely to have positive impact in Europe and overall the world. If we do not slow down or worsen on growth from here on, companies such as your contribution from Europe and overall will rebound quite meaningfully. Could it?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the full question, but as I understood, so you are asking about how do we look at US as well as European business in terms of the current macro conditions that are prevalent. So just to give you a clear this thing, while we are dependent on the markets to perform reasonably well. But our main businesses are coming from new model introduction and also from outsourcing activities that is happening on the current programs which they have. So which is more or less like shielded from the current macroeconomic conditions. So for us, while we are working on newer programs as well as replacing their incumbent suppliers, be it from Europe or from China. So for our growth, primarily this would not be fully dependent on the macro conditions. So we are quite confident on delivering the export or international business numbers, which is looking reasonably robust now.
Right, Mr. Preetham, thank you so much for joining in with us this afternoon on ED, now giving us an understanding on the macro environment as well as what we should be expecting from the company going forward. But on that note, viewers, we're going to slip into a very short break.